Hi, everybody. It's John Wolpert here with the Baseline Show every week on Wednesdays at noon U.S. Eastern, and most every week at 6 p.m. Indian time with Samara Kishore, who might be joining us here in a minute. We have our usual panel of esteemed colleagues, and we have Lucas from Provide here. I haven't seen Lucas in a while. He's been heads down actually writing code. Shame on you, Lucas. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Big news today is that the BRI, the Baseline Reference Implementation number 1, which is really the key implementation right now. I mean, I think in the future we'll have more of them that are mature, but right now we have one based on the Provide stack and Base Ledger, and it is and they just pushed out a major update to BRI1, and we're going to get a little bit of news on that and a lot more news about it on the weekend at EthAtl. Man, I should have a stinger for that. EthAtl, blah, blah, blah. EthAtl, EthAtl.com, October 1 through 3. Great hackathon, big news, great speakers, all sorts of wonderful stuff going on. And I've become like Mr. Announcer guy all of a sudden. I used to be like terrible, and now I do everything like I'm announcing a ball game. I should probably stop that. This is going to be a short show.
That little bit voiceover.
Right. We literally don't have time today for this show, but we're going to do it anyway because we love you out there. And speaking of which, I better double check that it's actually running. Is it?
It is. I've got it. Yep.
Right. So we have just a little time because we're all pretty much heads down working on stuff to deliver for the keynotes and everything happening on the first in Atlanta. So, and Lucas, we're really grateful that you took a little bit of time. I know that Kyle and everybody else is flat out right now. You made some big promises. You got big things to deliver. And I know the heat's on, so I wanted to get you in and out today. All right. So we'll.
Sounds good.
In fact, let's get right to that. So, Lucas, are you ready to do a quick session of Code Don't Lie?
As it stands, John, we are actually working on pushing everything into Docker container for testing. Because we want this to be as stable as possible. We want everyone to run it. And what we found when we finished the first BRI1 implementation was that it didn't run consistently for everyone. And that is mostly due to the fact that, BRI1 runs on Linux, Windows, and Mac, and everyone has different configurations on their system. So what that means is that if you're running a different node version, then it might not run for you, or it might run with some unexpected errors. So what we decided to do is, in favor of the community of developers, is Dockerize all the testing and work on a release of a stable tag of the Provide stack, where we can offer a stable development environment for developers to work on Baseline.
Unfortunately, they're not going to have a lot of time to prepare, but they'll be able to get in, and you guys will all be there, or some of you. Are you going physically?
I wish I could, but yeah, I am very much not. I tried to pitch a 2-week Costa Rica vacation to Kyle so that I can enter through there, but it did not fly. So unfortunately, I'll have to join async or virtually, maybe next year.
He's such a stickler, that Kyle guy.
What I think I'll do is I'll just quickly share a screen, Lucas, and let's look at just the Baseline repo, and maybe you can comment quickly on that.
Yeah,
on that work,
absolutely.
right? So just so that developers out there know where to go. Apologies, this is still called master. All new repos are called main. I'm not sure we can go into settings and check and change that. But I think legacy is what it is. But so
No,
here's
you can.
the main branch.
You can.
Can you?
Yeah, the admin
Yeah.
should be able to do that. Yeah.
All right, we'll look into that. I didn't realize that. Embarrassingly so. Okay, so here we are in the repo. This is baseline repo in GitHub. What should we be looking? If I was a developer and I wanted to get in here quick and start really cooking out some stuff, where would I go, Lucas?
So as it stands, you would have to click on master and go into BRI1 privacy.
Oh, it's still a branch? I thought we'd pushed it.
I don't think we have. I don't think we have, no.
All right.
That's
news. I thought, Sonal, didn't we confirm that this was all pushed 2 days ago?
That was the intent, but turns out it was not.
All right. Okay, so here it is. Presumably it'll be done by Friday. Right?
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of important. All right. So, all right, people can still see it. It's in BRI1 privacy. All right, moving forward.
So basically where you want to go is into examples, BRI1. Examples is the 5th folder down.
Yeah. I think we're deprecate. I thought there's another branch that deprecates Radish, right?
Yeah, that's correct. But this is
we got to get all those merged by Friday. Sonal, I think you're on this, right? Make sure everybody gets their jobs done.
Yes, we'll do.
Great, thanks. So, because I don't want to see Radish showing up on Friday.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I want to show up, but it needs to be indicated as deprecated. Okay, so we're going into BRI1. The other thing I don't love is the BRIs should not be under examples. I think that's confusing to people.
All right.
Right? It should just be up top. So it should, hey, BRIs, and then if there are examples that are BRI independent, they could be in an examples file or a folder. And any examples that are only BRI dependent should be in an examples folder inside that BRI, I should think. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally get behind that. I'll set up a file structure. I'll link with Sonal, and we can agree on something.
All right. Base example.
Base example. Yep. And you're gonna want to go. I've always thought that the best way to run through code is through the tests.
Yeah.
And the end-to-end spec is where the magic happens here. So a bit of background on what happens on this testing round. What BRI1 is in very few words an integration testing for the provide stack that follows the standards set out in the baseline standard documents. So what we're doing here is we are mixing and matching all of the functionality that the provide stack has to offer, and which fulfills the requirements set out by the baseline standards in a way where we show a functional process of carrying out a baselining. More specifically, we have the ability to create a baseline process. We have the ability of initializing a work group, inviting people to that work group, generating circuits and proofs based on those circuits, and then exchanging messages between exchanging messages in the form of proofs between different participants in that work group. So a big portion of this test is, in short, the ability to, or the setup for this baselining process. So John, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the description of baseline, and you've got the before, which basically ensures that the testnet configuration is correct. That we've got the testnet configured for Bob and for Alice, which are obviously our two participants. We managed to give these people a token that they can use to interact with our stack. And if you keep going down, we then run through the baseline app factory. So all of these are variables that we set in a utils file, which is determined at the top as an import. And we basically say these are the ports and the destinations where you should be connecting to. Each of these has a specific use. So, for example, you've got things like Vault, you've got ident, you've got nchain, which are all part of the provide stack and provide different services to what the baseline processes. Vault, for example, is key management. Nchain is a Web3 Swiss knife. Ident manages all the identities. We also have fallbacks in the form of our service called payments, in which, in case the accounts that we're using are not funded for whatever reason, we can always use Booty to ensure that these tests pass. So as it stands, Bob app and Alice app in it, set the work group, set the different invites. It just gets the entire process initialized. And what we do through the rest of the work groups is we ensure that all of that setup was carried out correctly. So we go through the work groups, we ensure that the bearer token is correct, that we have deployed an ERC-1820 contract. We ensure the participants have been correctly set up and they contain all the information. Work groups have been set up. The invite for Alice has been generated. And within that, we ensure that obviously Bob owns that ERC-1820 and that organization registry, and that Alice has accepted that invitation. Now, post onboarding, we carry out a test. So if you click control should behave like a workgroup counterparty organization, John, in line 225.
Thank you.
If you hit should behave like a workgroup organization, and basically here what we do is we ensure that not only is Alice part of a work group, but we also do a series of checks to ensure that she is not able to carry out functions of a work group initiator. She can still invite people, but we ensure that there is a difference between Alice and Bob in terms of group membership or work group membership. So if you go up a bit, John, or alternatively, if you go into the previous folder, the test folder.
Yep.
And you go into shared. There is what people will see when they go into the original end-to-end testing is that there are a lot of custom methods and custom assertions in the form of should behave like a workgroup organization, for example. I feel like a lot of the the tests have been written in a very idiomatic way, meaning that with a very quick look at them, you'd be able to know exactly what's going on and what we're trying to achieve with the tests. But the trade-off that we have made is that we have kept some of the more verbose parts of the testing in another file. So I think that, as a heads up, you should always click on these methods and ensure that you're getting into exactly what's going on. So, John, what I'm trying to say here is that should behave like a workgroup organization is used in the end-to-end testing, and people should go into this method to be able to see exactly what's going on. And you see, like, a workgroup organization has the ERC 1820 registry. They have the organization registry, line 25 to 30. Yeah. They've got the organization registry, the shield, the workflow identifier. So what you get really is the entire idea of what exactly
what's going on.
It means to have a work group by our standards. And then we make a series of assertions based on this idea that the contracts are stored locally. We just ensure that the appropriate person, whether it's Alice or Bob, has access to them. So obviously we have the shield contract. We've got the verifier, which are the contracts that carry out the zero knowledge proof part.
Right. The verify. Yep.
Yeah, I've used
that's
that
what's
so
dropping
much
onto base ledger and then ultimately getting verified on the main chain.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So if you go down a bit more.
By the way, so where would I? What are the packages I'm going to need to npm and get down, or which repos am I going to have to clone or for
all right.
to
to
get things going, because there's dependencies not only on BRI1 but internally, but it's going out to what is now largely open sourced provide stack, right? Which is good, because I know that one of the criticisms folks had was they were running into this monolithic wall of trust us, we've got that, right? And now you can say, no, you can also dig in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main thing people are gonna want to have installed for BRI1 to work is going to be the Provide CLI. The Provide CLI is currently open sourced.
What's the location
can take
for
a look at. That would be provide platform dash provide CLI. Dash, I mean slash. Provide platform slash provide CLI.
I'm going to put that in a tip here. So say it again. Provide
NPM. Platform. Oh, to install the CLI, you would have to do. There is not an npm. You would have to clone the repo and make install.
Okay, so in the repo, drop it in private chat, and I'll drop it on the main thing.
Yep.
Thank you. So, folks, that are developers that are out there, not quite the easy button yet, but at least it's there. You can go to Provide CLI and get that repo. So between the BRI1 repo and this repo and base ledger, which you can get to on, where's my base ledger thing? Yeah, base ledger, baseledger.net/testnet. Those three things together, if you cobble them all together and work really hard and then in desperation call Kyle Thomas and ask him to figure it out. That's my joke, because like that's been sort of the way it's been, and now it's not going to be. then you should be good to go, right? Those 3 packages are what you want.
Exactly.
And is it easy peasy yet? I think we can all agree it's not easy peasy yet, but you can do it.
It is
Getting easier.
getting to
Easier.
pretty easy peasy.
Easier.
I'm going to put that
Easier.
in chat. Easy.
Bust out the Budweiser frogs.
Easier.
Right on.
Okay, cool. What else do you want to show us, Lucas? What else would somebody need to know who's skilled in the art, as they say?
So talking about the CLI, I think there's something very important to understand about the reference implementation and the way the CLI works. The CLI is a helper for developers to bring up the baseline stack. So when we are introducing a company or a new developer into baseline, what we do or what we want to achieve is the fastest onboarding to a demo as we humanly can. So BRI1 achieves that through automated testing. However, we want to go a bit further than that when it comes to introducing developers into the stack. And we want them to have a tool with which they can deploy their own baseline stack and tweak in different ways the parameters and play with different statements, play with different systems of record, and overall have a more hands-on experience with baseline. That is what the CLI allows new users to do. We give them easy access to all of the functionality on demand instead of through automated testing. So they can take their time to tweak around different values and see how everything is running. So how the CLI and BRI1 work are in a very clear way. And by that, I mean that BRI1 comes with a series of Docker containers that function to set up the entire environment for baseline. And they help us to ensure that messaging is working, that the Vault service is working, and just overall create a full stack baseline representation of how everything would work if they decided to set it up in their own computers. The
Lucas,
CLI, on the other hand,
can I ask you a question? So the client presumably is a wrapper around the services and the endpoints, right? So is there an intention to is there a roadmap to release an SDK that would allow developers to simply integrate to integrate the services into their applications, because that typically is the best approach to abstracting away all the complexities for devs and just like it's like, here are the services, this is stuff you put in, it's like require statement
that so that is a little bit what the CLI does. So to an extent, we provide the different services in our stack as reachable API endpoints. So I feel like the next logical step for that would be an SDK. But before an SDK is released, I think we want to focus on getting the integration testing completed stable and out there for all the developers to be able to use and try and understand. And the logical step after that would be to release an SDK with a more mature implementation of the services, so that industry giants can just plug and play.
Right on. Andreas, I know you've said some pretty good things about you've seen the code in the Provide stack up and down, and you mentioned that you thought it was pretty good work, which is nice to hear. So quality work on the part of Provide, and Andreas, he's not going to tell me otherwise unless he thinks so. So that's good. But yeah, a lot to do on documentation still, and making that easy button even easier. But it sounds like you guys are well underway. There are a couple of questions. What about, so the battleship, where am I going to find the battleship example when it gets up? Which folder? Will it be another examples folder inside the repo? In the PRI one?
So based on how you have described the new folder structure, John, where we keep PRI ones at the top,
yeah.
It would be an example, and I'd
Great.
say it would fit perfectly there. That was pretty much my first thought when you brought it up. Having a series of examples in the actual example folder would be ideal.
Very good. Okay,
instead
great.
of having the actual reference
I
implementation.
want to audible that to David. I don't know if he's going to have that ready for the weekend or not. I think maybe it'd be a good hackathon project for somebody to actually help him complete that battleship thing. That's going to be I'm telling you, that's going to be a great hello world. I think everybody's going to use it. Yeah.
Actually, John, what would be good is actually to in order to accelerate, because I'm a big believer in SDKs, even if low level. SDKs is to create a baseline grant for that, because it's definitely something that should be on the should get an afterburner, because in the end, anything else like client is nice, Clay is nice, it's like but the rubber meets the implementation road in the SDK for that type of stuff. At least that has been my experience. And especially if it's like you just do and PM require and then you're good, right? That's the developer easy button, right?
That's the easy button I've been looking for. Right, exactly. We'll get there. We'll get
there. I'm just saying it's like it might be, Provide has 50 billion other things to do. So it might be a good good grant proposal to
time for those guys to start hiring. Yeah. Okay. So, Lucas, I know you're busy. It is the bottom of the hour, and we're really grateful for your time. I don't have any other. I've got tons of questions, but I think that you really helped us. At least let anybody that's watching the video, who's getting ready for the hackathon, I think you've given them a leg up, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for the time. You're welcome to stay on.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
But you're also. I just want to make sure you're comfortable ducking out if you need to. Andreas, speaking about grants, how are our friends doing with the DID project? Nick, it's good to see you too. I know you got a big thing going on as well.
Thank you. See y'all in Atlanta.
All right.
Or virtually in Atlanta for those of you that'll be there virtually.
I was up till 2 a.m. last night, so I'm guessing you were probably as well. I know we're both pretty busy.
I was not up late, but I was up at 4 a.m. this morning. So.
Oh, wonderful.
Getting time clock adjusted. Yes, exactly. All right. See you there.
That's a rough one.
Cheers.
See ya.
So there's two companies, right? You want to take us through the background again?
Sure. Very, very briefly. So the two largest baseline grants that have been awarded today were for one was to Transmute. Both were for $20,000. So those developers out there, there is some big chunk out there for you guys. So the transmute is upgrading a scalable DIT method called Element, which is Ethereum based, and the keyword is scalable. Element as a layer as a layer 2 for decentralized identifiers, and it's actually based on an existing spec from the Decentralized Identity Foundation called Sidetree. And they're upgrading this, the current Element implementation to the version 1 of the spec, such that it can be utilized in baseline. So you can baseline, you know, your IoT networks and all that good stuff.
It's a big deal.
That is actually a big deal. You know, imagine
that is the phone book thing that I was, remember all those, like a year ago, I was like, we need a damn phone book.
That's your phone book. That's the phone book, because it allows you to create, you know, 10,000 DITs per ops. And I
still would, you know, I'm an old thinker, I guess, in some ways, but I still wish I had some way of just counting the number of baselined, you know, entities that are in the phone book, right? It'd be nice to just kind of go, yeah, here's the phone book, and there are 10,000 records here. So it must be
you
10,
can actually do that through an Explorer. That's another great grant.
Well,
grant,
yeah. So
grant
yeah. So like Mesh has got a company spinning up around that with Evan and their team, right, Andreas?
Possibly. Yeah. I wouldn't possibly know. But what importantly, Spruce ID is the other company, and they're actually integrating DID element into BRI1. So
it's kind of like a web crawler for DIDs is kind of what it would be, right?
Yeah. It's more like the afterburner for DIDs. It's like,
it just goes out and looks for DIDs and indexes.
Well, you can do that. It allows you to create DITs in large badges. So imagine you have imagine Tesla wants to give identities to all its cars. It can do that basically in 10 seconds, because it just puts several badges on using DID element, and now they can, for example, record the distance driven, provably so, baseline that, and get CO2 credits for the driver issued to them as tradable tokens. Woo woo!
Right now,
that's the stuff that's then possible, and you need it because you have a whole lot of cars and a whole lot of IoT devices out there that will be doing just that, counting CO2 that's created or not created. So anyway, so that's what's happening on the grant proposal. Hey, and on this show we created two new RFPs for baseline grants. Now we just need to raise some more money.
Yeah. Hey, Sonal, you want to take a note on those, and let's get to it. Yeah, Sonal's spearheading a lot of stuff like that. Right on. Okay, so I guess that I think that wraps the key things. Certo, by the way, is SERTO is the DID crawler project that some friends of ours are building.
Yeah, don't talk about DID crawling with Daniel Buckner. No, Daniel Buckner is okay, but like with the sovereign guys, they're
like
getting
that,
hives. No, because that's leaking privacy, dude. It's like ain't no DID crawler. DID crawler is bad.
I'm pretty sure that I'm publicly listing my phone number on the white pages, so why wouldn't I? Anyway, that's a long story. Okay,
you're not privacy paranoid. It's like they're a couple of guys out there that were more than a couple that would go like rah! So
okay, so I'm gonna make one quick announcement. Well, Summer, you're not doing the show on Saturday because of the ETH Atlanta, right? You're going to tap into that?
Well, this Saturday I was planning to do the show, but yeah, of course, I think it sort of
Oh no, if you're
overlaps.
going to do the show, that's great. I thought I heard you say that. No, great. Sorry. So yes,
No, it was
everybody
actually last
join the
week.
show on
It
Saturday.
was last week.
Huh? You got a lineup? Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you Zoom or Restream?
Oh, the
Just
same, the
restream.
same platform, the same
Yeah.
platform.
Actually, every
So,
time we have to switch our names because we switch.
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. And by the way, the NASSCOM event was fantastic. Are those videos public? I don't think so. Are they?
Yeah, those videos are available. So we got our post-event report today. The event was very well received, and I think I personally got a lot of messages and phone calls, etc., from people known and unknown to me, and especially the NASSCOM folks, appreciated Andreas,
And for folks
yourself,
who
and,
don't
and
know,
John
right,
for
that
making time.
NASSCOM is like the CES of India IT, right? So it's a big deal. I mean, it's like 30,000. It was a
Oh, yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, they had a lot of people. I can't recall the number on top of my head, but they had thousands of people attending it, and of course they have a post event report, which we can publish actually, which we can
Actually,
publish.
I'm
It's
proud to
public.
say that we made the top 4 or 5 recommended things to watch post in their little list. Either that, or they had a bot that made sure that the mail that I got showed that, and maybe everybody who spoke has a similar email with them on top, but I don't know. I don't think so.
No, no, it's not that. Even I got the same email which has one of the four ones is yours. So I think
There were over 2,900 people attending.
Just in the which is not bad for a virtual conference these days. I miss the big 30,000 people events in Vegas though sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah, but they're not going for the conference; they're going for Vegas.
And Andreas had a talk on that, and also Kyle Thomas did as well. So great job, and thank you very much, Samrat, for being such a champion for
Oh,
baseline there.
it's just the starting. I'm rooting for many more events to come. We have to put baseline on all major events, and particularly something which came out of this was that we are now positioned with these guys. When we talk to them, they sort of recognize that this is what was happening. And with the post event report, we can also keep reaching out to the prospects that we were talking to earlier. So I think it will help us in our go to
Everybody's
market.
getting it. It's really hitting now. I was just talking to yeah, I don't think he might tell me. So Mark Mercury, who used to be a big, he's a famous Microsoft guy, and he's now over at Consensus. And we just had a great call today, talking about stuff. He's like, no, I'm like, I'm trying to make the case for baseline. He's like, you don't have to make the case. I get it already. I'm in. Now the question is, what products do we bring to market around that? And I was like, well, I've got some ideas for that. But it's great to to get that kind of feedback. It just kind of makes sense. Also had a call or a thing yesterday. I think it's still on YouTube, or it's up on YouTube now, with one of the sort of leading voices in the Stellar community, and he was just a really great guy to talk to, Sam Connor, and I really like talking to this guy. I want to like create a show with this guy. Maybe you and I, and maybe we can, add to the fun. But it was nice to have a conversation with folks in the Stellar community about baselining. And it was like, oh yeah, duh, this makes sense. So it was really nice. Okay, so last thing, and I'll go full screen, I guess, on this. We have, I want to make sure everybody knows that, everybody's asking for great use cases for baselining. And we're going to have some really good ones. I love, the demo that's coming out around, obviously we have Coca-Cola, and ServiceNow will be there on the weekend. And I think they're there. I hope I'm not wrong about that. I think they are. And there's also, the Battleship Hello World demo and all that stuff coming up. And Andreas and I got thinking about, there's this NFT thing, and I've been kind of famously making fun of NFTs for a while. And I like to come up with ways to take things I'm making fun of and making them even better. And so Andreas and I got thinking about how to make NFTs baseline style. And I'd like to point everyone's attention to TreeTrunk NFT. You are unique. Own it. Which I got to go back in advertising. I like that line. You can join the Discord. Go to treetrunk.io. And we're going to be presenting it, demoing it, and playing with it at EthAtl this weekend. So it'll be part of my keynote, and you can come and either join in the fun live or virtually. Create and own private, exclusive, original art. Make unique, signed, and numbered prints. Build a royalties empire. And we're going to show you how to do that baseline style in such a way that you truly do. When you sell your original to another person, they know that they're getting a file nobody else has ever, the ones and zeros of that file are unique and exclusive to them. And that when you hand that over, you didn't just hand over an NFT and that you're sure no longer is in the hands of the previous owner. You are handing over the actual file itself is unique and exclusive and owned by you. And Andreas, do you want to say anything about this? Or
yeah, so it's like typically people are, oh, I have this great NFT and here it is, and oh, where is it? It's gone. Wait, I don't have the NFT anymore. Of course, you still have the token, but the image is gone because the guy who sold it to you didn't check didn't check copyright, and it's like violated 10 different copyright laws, and it's like, oh, by the way, you had it, you might get sued too. So not a good move. So this is exactly doing what current NFTs cannot do. It makes the entire package authentic. Not only the token, which we all know on Ethereum is unique because it's a smart contract and everything, and it's controlled by you, but the image, anybody can hack around, take it, copy it, pretend it's something else. Now with TreeTrunk NFT, the entire package is now authentic. Cannot be pretended to be anything but. And if you buy it, you can check that. Oh, by the way, there's no copyright violations. Is actually the owner is actually the one selling it to you, so you're safe.
Yeah, well, relatively so, and certainly a little help in tracking, and tracking royalties, tracking use, and giving people a lot more. And also things like Twitter will be. I think this would be, as it comes out, a pretty nice way for Twitter to be doing what they want to do, which is validating and authenticating your ID or your picture. And lots of other, there's applications, gaming and other stuff. We're going to be breaking it all down on the weekend, and we're going to show you exactly how it works. We're going to show you a working demo, and come and see that on this weekend. And just bring that up as one example of what you can do creatively with the baseline approach. There's so much more. Somebody called me the other day and said, "Hey, we want to join the hackathon. But we just don't have any ideas yet." And I was like, "What about this? What about this?" I think we spent an hour and a half going through, I think, 6 different pretty novel, not to my knowledge been tried before use cases. So there's lots of stuff out there. You just gotta come to ETH Atlanta, drink a lot, and get loose and come up with some creative ideas. And with that, I think, Mark, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Are we going to drive together? Is that what we're going to do?
We can, yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
Perfect. I'm taking a big Suburban down there because where we are in Atlanta is not going to be particularly uber dense. It's not near the downtown.
Oh no, I paid $80 for an Uber last time I was there to go nowhere.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking my Suburban so I can sit there and kind of taxi some people around if we need to. It's just going to make it a lot easier.
You're such a wonderful human being, Mark. It's like thank you.
He's not fooling around when he says that. You are.
No, I know. It's like no. That's why I'm that was actually not tongue in cheek what I just said.
Right on.
But I suppose if a priest can be a marriage counselor, then I guess I can be a good thing.
Right. Okay.
But no, I mean, one thing I actually wanted to talk about on the TreeTrunk NFT, and what Andreas was talking about, this is one thing that definitely want to pay attention to, because it introduces and reinforces the whole concept of transfer without copying. I commonly kind of use the example of, if I wanted to send you a document or a photo, it's in your inbox, but it's still on my hard drive. This is a mechanism to where it takes it from my hard drive and it goes to your inbox. You now have full care, custody, and control, as well as ownership of.
Well, I mean, the trick is that it can never be. So yeah, the original and any original that creates or any child or branch file that creates a lineage below it is, it's under an enclave, and it's never seen. You aren't copying those ones and zeros out even personally. But you can prove that what you have in this magic box, that you can't peer into, is the file that you're looking at. But the file you're looking at actually has that file is not the original. It's a child of the original, and it can prove that it's a child of the original. So anyway, it's kind of wacky. What you have to do to keep ones and zeros from floating around is a little harder than atoms, I think, is the point.
And I think the decision is done that the baseline show on Saturday is not happening, because I myself am going to be in Atlanta.
Oh, you don't say that if you're not going to do the show, because people will believe you. Are you going to do the show or not?
No, I think TreeTrunk is much more important than this one. So,
but Saturday is just going to be, we're just going to be hacking. I mean, it's not a lot of the keynote stuff is on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So you're not preempting anything. In fact, we could probably dial in. Why not? We'll dial in from the show. Let's do that. Let's dial in from the show.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, man. Let's do that. That's a great idea.
That would be awesome.
Anybody that's going to actually get up at 8:30 in the morning here can. Is Atlanta on East? Yeah, it's still Eastern time zone, right? Yeah. Then I'm showing my ignorance. So let's do that, Samurai. Let's do the show. Let's get that up. Make sure you let everybody know, like today, and give them the link, and we'll get some. Well, I'm sure we can get some people up early on Saturday and into that studio.
Oh, okay. Sonal is raising her hand.
And Sonal, you're doing a core devs meeting on Saturday, right?
Yes, we're still figuring out the time for sure, but I'm thinking around 10:30 in the morning. Just to say hello and have some coffee
Let's bring Krispy
together.
Kreme. Everybody will show up.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll buy those. All right. I'll buy them if you just keep me away from them. I don't need any. All right. Are we good? Are we good then, Sama? We're going to do that?
Yeah, perfect. And I think Jack just said the absolute right thing, actually. We are going to be doing demos which are planned for Saturday, and then of course Gossip Talk. So Gossip Talk is going to happen on the show. For sure, I'm going to.
I wasn't doing my good duty on the chat. I wasn't looking for a bit.
I think you can safely say a lot of us feel like kids, on Christmas Eve, not wanting to go to bed because it's like, come on.
I'm not going to. It's a long tweet, so I'm not going to display it on screen. But Z, I see your point a few minutes ago, and don't disagree with you at all. There is a lot, and that's kind of what we wanted to do was whether people. I think when you see our explanation of TreeTrunk NFT, I think it's going to be pretty clear. I'm calling it cryptolithography. Cryptolithography, right? So if you know how to do lithographic prints, and signed, numbered prints, this isn't completely unlike that, with a couple of interesting twists. So we'll talk about that on Saturday or Friday. Attack Titan, can I tweet the TreeTrunk item? Absolutely, you can, Attack Titan. And
Yeah,
Tyler
and
says
Z,
it's killing me that I can't go this weekend. I know.
Z,
Darren
quick,
and I are going to be online.
quick clarification:
So,
the images are not on chain, right? The images are always off chain. They're never on chain. So
yeah,
it's
the
like,
images aren't on chain. You can have a public child file that is public and on IPFS, but that child file is not the actual original article. It just is a facsimile of it with ones and zeros that have been changed, but can prove that it is a child without showing the original from which it was derived ever to anyone.
Oh, fun fact: if you put an image on IPFS and someone is coming after you for copyright violations, you are going to be in a lot of hurt. I mean, a lot of hurt, because guess what?
There's some nuances.
You can't take it down. You can't take it ever down.
No, cease and desist is a problem, isn't
It's a cease and desist is a super hard problem. Ooh, ow! Unless, of course, you can prove it is actually authentic and doesn't violate any copyrights. And guess what? Who's taking care of that? TreeTrunk NFT.
Okay, now we're sounding salesy. I'm going to cut it off there. All right. I told you, Andreas, let the technical people that try to be marketers go crazy.
Actually, I'm not. It's actually an issue. It's actually
leave the metaphors to those of us who. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I think we are done. I thought this was going to be a short show, but we always have so much to talk about, and I love you guys so much.
I have never seen something. I've never seen something that we said was going to be a short show actually turn out to be a short show.
Yeah, that's okay. It's fun. It's a fun
No,
lunch hour.
Good.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great week. And we'll see you hopefully at EthAtl, ETH.ATL on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Join us there, EthAtl.com. And with that, we'll take us out on my favorite song.
Baseline.